Hi there, and welcome back. So, I actually did shoot an entire video without uh, going into the topic that I was planning out, and they just kind of sprung upon me. So, now that I've got those thoughts out of the way, that was like a 12-minute video. I think now we can focus on the second animated Star Trek show ever, the ninth Star Trek series ever, Star Trek Lower Decks, right? So, I finished watching it. When was it? Last week. So, like I mentioned in the previous video, how I actually was planning to do it was one episode, do the review, but because I got a little busy, even in some couple of the weekends on Saturdays I was working, I had lesser time, so and I was watching a lot of things. So, after I ended up doing I watched the first and second episode, waited till the second episode came, and then I watched first and second episode. Then I waited 2 more weeks and then watched the third and fourth episode, so on and so forth, until the season finale. So there was only 10 episodes, and I initially thought either I'll do one episode review after I finish watching it, or watch 2 episodes and then do the review. So shoot it as 5 different videos, but ended up not happening. So I thought it doesn't matter. I don't have to do that. I'll just do a overall season review covering all the points that I like about it, rather than going into the plot lines and tell you what I thought about the show. What did I think about this show? I loved it. So I wasn't really expecting to like it a lot, but this show has got a lot going for it, and I think there's a lot of love for previously shown Star Trek, and it's more leaning towards the 90s shows and even the 66 original show. So I kind of feel this show is making a dig at some of the tropes, but at the same time also having fun with it, and also accepting it as part of the lore. So I was pleasantly surprised. There are a couple of things that I didn't like here and there, but overall I did feel like this is a fun show that I can watch. So the show starts, and I seem to have lost my voice, shows the voice talents of Tawny Newsome, who plays Beckett Mariner, who's kind of like the lead. Jack Quaid plays Brad Boimler. I always find it difficult to pronounce the name. It's Boimler. Noel Wells plays the Orion ensign. The Luana Tendi, but Tendi is what we tend to call her throughout the show. And you got to be a little careful, because in my mother tongue, if you pronounce it with an H, it actually means something else. Eugene Cordero as Sam Rutherford. Samanthan? I don't know. Okay. I just do him as Sam Rutherford. Dawn Lewis as the Captain Carol Freeman of the Cerritos, which is the hero ship in this particular episode. In this particular series. Jerry O'Connell as Jack Ransom, who plays the first officer, another human. Fred Tatasciore as Shax, who was the Bajoran tactical officer, which is a little sad thing towards the end. Gillian Wigman as Tana, who is the Cation. She basically looks like a cat. Who is the head of medical? She's a doctor. She's the head of the medical team on board the Cerritos. So you also have a lot of notable guests like J.G. Hertzler, Haley Joel Osment, John Delancey as Q, Kurtwood Smith, Jonathan Frakes, and Marina Sittis, who appeared in the last episode. So, like I mentioned, I did like it a lot. The first episode, alright, it kind of established what we can look out for as these particular characters, but I did not like the fast-pacedness of it, because I think you need to slowly bring in your characters into the show them interacting a little bit more, and then put them in all kinds of adventures. A little bit slower paced first episode I think would have been a little better, and the style of humor as well. I found it to be off-putting, so the first episode was a bit of a downer for me. I did not really like it that much. The second episode, though, it was a little bit more paced, the way that I'm used to when it comes to Star Trek and shows, even though there's a lot more comedy, of course. And by the end of that episode, I had a big smile on my face. I really liked it. So I think the first episode I would probably rate it around a 6 out of 10, and the second episode I would give it an 8 out of 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 were all pretty good. So I would say overall, I will give the entire series around an 8 out of 10. I really liked it quite a lot. They're pretty enjoyable. There's a little bit about certain things which I did not like. I like the fact about Mariner being this kind of, not that she was, um, it's like, there's a couple of things about her that I did not like. For one, she kind of takes way too much freedom, and she's given a lot of freedom in on the ship, for things that she does. And I don't think normally in Star Trek they would actually, or Starfleet would actually let that go. Her mom happens to be the captain. Nobody knows that. For some reason they've kept it. I think for this very particular reason. So she is, Mariner is basically, I think, taking the name from her dad, the last surname. And nobody, other than both of them on the Cerritos, no one else knows that she is the daughter of the captain. She is somebody who should have been, how do I put this? At least been a commander, if not a captain by now. But she has chosen, on her, it's completely her choice. She does not want the responsibilities. She wants to be an ensign. She wants to play around. She wants to have fun. Put her, talents and her skills onto, what she feels is excuse me, necessary for the running of the ship and for the crew, but not make the bigger decisions in life, or big decisions on missions and stuff. Although she is quite kind of capable, and the way she gets away with a lot of things is something that I did not like. I don't think that would actually happen in Starfleet. You wouldn't see this happening on a little bit more serious show, but the effect overall is kind of funny. But at the same time, I don't actually think that. So that's the main thing I did not like about it. Brad Boimler is often the butt of her jokes, but I kind of like him quite a lot. He is the by the books guy who's like excited about doing a lot of things. He really is in it for promotions, for doing a good job and all that stuff. But he can be a little bit of a stick in the mud, but Mariner kind of brings out the fun side of him. Noel Wells as Tendi is kind of like the adorable thing. The only problem that I had with this particular character is in a lot of way, and it's not just the way that they talk, not the accent part, but it's the way of their reaction is she seems too human. She seems too 21st century American youngster is what I can say, or North American youngster. I'm just going to check, and Noel Wells is an American actress. I mean, she's cute and all that. I definitely do like her as being 1/4 of the main cast of the show, the main part of the show. But that's what, and Orion, I expected her to be a lot more alien. She seems to be just like any other young human being at that particular time. Eugene Cordero is probably the, again, somebody who eager to please and all that stuff. He is, his name is Sam Rutherford, and he is adjusting to a cyborg implant. This kind of seems to be a little bit of a throwback to Geordie LaForge. And he's good at engineering stuff, and so there's a lot of things that we see from the engineering standpoint with Rutherford. And I kind of like his relationship with Tendi. It's like kind of very sweet between them. Jerry O'Connell plays Jack Ransom really funny. He kind of mixes Riker and Captain Kirk together, is what I can put it as, and I think that was the intent. So, and there's a little bit of fun. There's a little bit of a slight hint, maybe a little bit more than a slight hint at him and Mariner. I mean, more like Mariner seems to be attracted to him, especially on that one episode. I don't know if they're going to go further with that. And then Tiana, I found it very funny to have a cat as the, a cat face, and basically she's completely a cat, but just she's standing upright. The worst part about this series, that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in anything in Star Trek. And There have been some bad ideas, but there was a uh, the counselor is a bird, humanoid body, the head of a bird. What? Tweety Bird grew up and now is suddenly the counselor on the Starship Cerritos. I was like, I mean, and that was the final episode. Sorry, yeah, I I was like, why? Why are you doing something as? I mean, but again, it's animated. They can do all this stuff. But overall, like I said, it's an 8 out of 10 for me. I really, really enjoyed it. So when I say 8 out of 10, the enjoyment factor, like I look at it as you can have a fun series, you can have a Star Trek series, you can have a fun Star Trek series, like the comedy elements and stuff. And I think they bridged that gap and kind of mingle the Star Trek part and the comedy in it, and I really liked it. So if you like um, your Star Trek with a heavy dose of comedy, sitcom kind of stuff, no, maybe not sitcom, but yeah, heavy dose of comedy in it. Kind of like how initially they planned the Orville, but Orville got a little serious as well as they went along. And this is more towards the comedy side, but they've also got the serious parts, especially towards the end when we actually lose one of the characters. Is killed. That's basically Shax is killed. It was a really touching moment when they had we couldn't get a funeral because his body was on an exploding ship, but they did have a memorial for him. So I did like those kind of things. So that's my viewpoint on it. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I mean, despite the few flaws that I actually did say, and it's kind of like minor. I don't want to nitpick, but the fact is, these couple of things did actually throw me off. So if I disregarded the first episode, 9 episodes were pretty awesome for me. The first episode, I think, was something that they could have done after they had, maybe not as a pilot, but they could have probably had a pilot and then put this. Oh, the other thing is the ship. I like the ship design. The whole viewpoint is that this is not it's not a flagship, it's not one of the more famous ships, but it's one of the ships that's there in the line. So those are the kind of things. So you can see it very, from the beginning itself, in the theme music, in the credits roll and all that stuff. So I like that part. You're always seeing the hero ships. You're always seeing the top of the line. You're seeing the best of the best. You're seeing Enterprises. You're seeing Voyager. You also got really good, really good captain, really good crew members. So these are like, they're also there. So one of their jobs is like the second contact after the hero ships, the flagships go and have first contact. These people go and have a second contact kind of thing. Fix things, go and drop off supplies, add things of that will be beneficial for the people of that particular planet, or do trade, whatsoever. So here's the funny part. I mean, not the odd part. They did show Klingons, not too many. They just showed a couple of Klingons, but it's the TNG style, DS9 style of Klingons. So what are they saying? Are these two different universes? We don't know. But I prefer those way more. Not just the way that they look, but also for example, in Discovery, it is kind of difficult for them to talk. It sounds really odd, especially the lady, the female character as well, in the one who becomes the Chancellor, the Queen kind of thing, and the one who calls herself Mother. So, like I said, overall, it's very positive. I like the comedy elements. I like the fact that they show a lot of things. I like the fact that they had the Titan, the USS Titan, finally have a appearance in canon. Wonderful to see. And I'm actually wondering, I didn't actually check and see when was I didn't really pay attention to it as to what year this is, but I'm guessing it's probably a year or two after Nemesis, maybe. I don't know, but we've got Captain Riker and his wife Deanna Troi in it. That was fun to see them as well. So, it's only one episode, so I really did enjoy seeing them. If I had more of this thing, it would be a little bit odd, but it was really fun. And I actually wanted to see a series based on the USS Titan, especially after Nemesis ended. They could have probably tried and did something with it, so lost. But yeah, overall, big thumbs up. I just wish you had more episodes. So maybe next season, tack on a few more episodes, 4 or 5 more. That would actually be pretty good for me and for a lot of other people. So I think if you are staying away, if you're a Star Trek fan, you're a Trekkie, and you're staying away thinking you don't want comedy and animation in this thing, don't. You're actually going to be pleasantly surprised. You can look at it as just another aspect of the Star Trek universe. It is fun, but they've got a lot of love for the Star Trek. I think overall they do pay homage to a lot of Star Trek things that we see, take for granted, and there's a lot of mentioning and throwbacks to a lot of old stuff that we've seen. So I think you will definitely enjoy it if you haven't stayed. Now, I'm not seeing negative comments about the show so much. Just that a lot of people haven't yet gotten to watch it. One of the reasons because it's on a streaming service. But yeah, I think when the DVDs do come out, I will definitely get it. It will have a nice home there or somewhere else. But yeah, it'll be something that I really like. So I mean, it's now where its place is going to be in my top list of all the shows. It's 9th show, right? We've got a 10th one coming in. I'm really excited for that, but I would also say that this has got a place in the Star Trek universe and science fiction universe of television shows, so I don't think you should stay away from it. You will be pleasantly surprised, and you can look out for all the hints to different episodes and different alien beings and different things that they've shown on it. So, not really sure how they're going to bring it back to Lower Decks, because so basically Lower Decks is about the staff, the crew that does the donkey's work, if you want to call it, doing the maintenance, doing the repair, all that kind of stuff. So the ensigns basically, who are not part of the bridge crew, who are not part of the main crew members, but they are like, they have their place in it. So, the other thing I didn't have a problem was, you're on a spaceship, you're sending people off to the, give those people their own rooms, for fuck's sake. Sorry, oops, it's an animated show, shouldn't be swearing. But give them their own rooms. All these ensigns staying like, if you've seen the rock band tour buses, it's kind of like that. It's just like bunk beds, kind of built into the bulk of the ship. Really built in, and then that's all they have. They don't have privacy. Come on. I mean, I hope one day when we do finally go into space, we have some kind of I won't be alive for that, but if you do have that kind of a staff fleet for that matter, or a space force, I feel like, it would be a real shame if every crew member didn't get their own room, their own bed, proper bed to sleep on, It looks really odd. And that's about it. So, almost 20 minutes for this look back, review kind of thing. I give it an 8 out of 10. Thoroughly enjoyable. I think somewhere down the line before the next season, I don't tend to do this, but I will definitely rewatch it again. So I normally wait for the shows to end before I start doing my rewatch. But this one, I think, because one, it's pretty short, smaller episodes as well, shorter episodes as well, I think that I definitely binge watch it, and I think it might be really fun to sit on a longer weekend to sit back and watch this, and enjoy it a lot more. So that's my 2 cents about Star Trek Lower Decks. I wish we had more episodes. That's my biggest complaint, and hopefully they will come out with longer seasons if this one is a really big hit. So that's all for me, and as always, live long and prosper.